This is Tessa, and welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to go over quickly my current works in progress and what I may or may not do for November's NaNoWriMo, because that's the big one. That's the 50,000 word one. And for me, 50,000 words is hard to do at one time. So I don't know if in 30 days I can manage to come up with something that will actually end up being 50,000 words. I have a couple things on my plate right now. And so current works in progress are, of course, my blog posts. I try to keep my blog updated, and if not every day, every other day. It is something that I try to do regularly, because once I get out of the habit, it's hard to get back into it. And I've done that before where it's been hard to get started again. And I try to keep at least one post a day. And I do a lot of prompt writing. So obviously I need help getting ideas, because I just can't really come up with things out of my head. I need prompts to help me. So there's always that, and that's pretty much every day, because there's enough prompts that I like to do that I can cover most days. Or I'll have several in one day and miss the next day. I mean, it works that way sometimes too. Then I have several what I call serial prompt posts on my blog, where I have written anywhere from 30-some to 50 pieces using each prompt post, whether it's weekly or daily, because I have both. And sometimes I combine more than one to come up with these stories that run for, probably like Kindle Vella. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, long before they came up with Kindle Vella. I am not on Kindle Vella. I'm not interested in being on Kindle Vella, but I write a lot of those serial blog posts on my blog. And I used a lot of them in my first book, which is currently undergoing edits still. But I used a lot of them as ideas to bounce off of and, create the story. And so what I've been doing is writing these whenever I get a good one. Like every now and then it'll just fall into place, the story I write usually it's my 3-word challenge ones, which are daily. And so you'll get 3 words, and they have really nothing half the time to do with each other. And you got to come up with a story. And every now and then I come up with something. I'm like, you know what? Actually, I think I can, keep going with this. So every day, and I'll make it every day if that's what it is. If it's a daily prompt or a weekly prompt, whatever, that's what I'll do. And I'll write, a piece each day to add to that first, blog post. And eventually, some of them have been 40 to 50 pieces long before I decide to end them. And then I thought, well, I can also write them planning on a possibility of using them to do a series if I decide to write another book. So I have several of them that are written with that thought in mind. And I haven't decided if I want to do a series. That may have been my one and only book. I don't know. It's short. Like I said, I am not a long writer. for sure. I have enough trouble with 50,000 words total. Like, that book isn't even quite 50,000 words. Like, I think it's 48,000 something. So, I don't. I'm sorry, something's in my eye. But I don't have a lot of ideas, and I'm not a wordy person. Like, I just can't go on and on and on. I mean, I managed to add a lot of stuff. I went back and added some, details and description and stuff like that to make it longer. But it doesn't start out very long. It's usually pretty short. That's why camp is perfect, because I can pick a small number and not have to worry about, trying to get 50,000, because it's rare for me to get 50,000 words. I mean, I may get them because I start writing, and then when I switch and say, oh, I got a better idea, I don't take the stuff out. I just keep on writing. Like, I just keep on going. So at the end, I have 50,000 words. And of course, I have to take that piece and I have to edit out what's not going to be in there. And then it's down to about 30,000. So 25 to 30,000 is about my length. So it's really hard for me to get it up to 50,000. Now, the book, like I said, it's 48,000 something. And it took a lot of going over and adding a lot of descriptions and stuff like that to make, stretch it out, because it seemed like every time I went over it, I was taking more stuff out, and it was getting smaller rather than longer. I'm like, keep this up, I'm going to be under 40,000 words. Because most of the things say that at least 40,000 words for it to be considered a novel. Most of them. Some of them say it has to be longer, but there are some out there that say 40,000 words is a novel. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. So my first one is a 48,000 word novel. But I don't know if I'm going to actually do a series. I mean, originally I had this great idea, and I know what sparked that. And unfortunately, because of my bipolar disorder, sometimes I get some crazy ideas when I'm manic, and I just think, wow, I could do that. And before I knew it, I had like 10 books planned out. I'm like, wow, this is great. And then, of course, reality comes. So does the depression. And I'm like, I don't even want to write book one, let alone this whole series that I was planning. And it's just something I have to live with. I have no control over it. I mean, I take medication, or it'd be a lot worse, but sometimes it just happens. So I got this crazy idea to write all these books, and that's why I was writing all those short stories in, serial form, because I knew I could take them, add a beginning and an ending, add a little description to, what I wrote for the blog post, and then I would have a book. So I wrote those with that thought in mind, but I don't know if they'll actually go any further than just being short stories on my blog. I'm not really sure. Then there comes the memoir, which is another issue. My memoir I wrote and put on my blog, and I didn't think a whole lot about it. And then I decided, well, since I'm getting my book edited, why not have the memoir edited? And I got the developmental edits back on it, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I didn't think I had that many problems with it, and all this stuff that needs to be fixed, and all this is going through my head. And then I'm like, oh gosh, because technically, when she was, some of the edits that she put on there had to do with the fact that I didn't have a lot of like feeling the way I was feeling and stuff like that. And I'm like, thinking back over, and I'm like, no, I didn't really go into feelings, but if I did, the memoir I wrote is more fairy tale than it is real life. Because I made it sound like life was great and idyllic, and I was happy and everything was wonderful. But in real life, it wasn't. So what I wrote was basically a fairy tale. So now part of me is like torn. Do I take that memoir and change it? It is very, very short. It's less than 20,000 words. Because I only chose to write about the 4 years we were. My ex-husband was a Marine, so he was in for 4 years. So I wrote about the 4 years of our marriage while he was in the Marine Corps. And in truth, it was probably the best part of our life, but it wasn't a great life. And I lied, technically. It made it sound like it was all wonderful and great and perfect, and it wasn't. And so I kind of came crashing down after the realization of, what I had written. And it's like, do I keep this up here? Do I change it? Do I make it longer? Because one of the things was that it was so short, but it was only supposed to be about the military years. So, should I make it longer? Because I was going to make it my whole marriage. Then I made it the military years. Then, but if I go into my whole marriage, it's going to be a real mess. And so my friend said, well, why not just write it for your own feelings, sort of a catharsis, to help me get through what still bothers me all these years later. I've been divorced 21 years. We would have been married 45 years this year. And we were married 23 years before the divorce. And, I'm not really over it. And so, it's like, one, I can take down what I wrote. 2, I can leave what I wrote. 3, I can write the actual story of my life and post it, or write the actual story of my life and not post it, just keep it for me. Like, there's a lot of things to think about with that. As of this moment, I'm leaving it alone. I have to think about the edits that I was given. If it's worth editing that, leave it as it is. Go to work on a longer piece, which would include my whole marriage. Whether to post it, keep it to myself. There's a lot of decisions to make. And, part of me says, if I post it as a memoir and I post it as life really happened, and certain people read it, I'm going to have a problem. I already have enough problems without adding that. Certain family members would be a little upset. Then my family doesn't really care what I write. They won't even bother to read my stuff. So it's not, it's highly unlikely that anybody would read it, but I do have friends, and maybe one of my friends might read it, and then it get back to certain parties. I would rather not go through this all over again, because we've been through this. I made my feelings known, and it was a rough time, but I just felt that I had to let it out, and I thought that would be enough to let it out. Obviously not. So I'm in a dilemma here with this memoir. Or do I just take it down completely and just not do anything? I don't know what to do. It would be a possibility for NaNoWriMo because it would be definitely much longer. A 23-year marriage has a lot of information than 4 years does, obviously. And if I actually put the feelings and real life in there, it'll be a lot longer than just telling a little story that, sounds all nice and happy and wonderful, but it wasn't real. I wanted to think it was real, but it wasn't real. So I'm in a quandary right now. I'm not sure what I want to do. I don't know what to work on. Right now, I'm kind of concentrating on my blog because it's just prompt stories, short stories, poems, etc. Not a big project. I'm still waiting on the edits for my first novel, and that one I plan to put on my blog, and that'll take a while to set it up on the blog, all that copy pasting and everything, and put that on there, because I'm not planning on publishing traditionally or indie publishing any of my work. It's all going on my blog. I mean, that's me. That's my blog. That's me. And, financially I can't afford to publish because adding income to my impoverished state would be nice, except that I could possibly lose benefits that way, and without the benefits I couldn't survive on what I might make by writing, and that's still a big might. I have no idea whether or not anything would actually sell. So, I would hate to lose everything on a whim. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't like to see my stuff in print, but it's just not feasible at this point in my life, and I can't do it. So the next best thing is to post it on my blog. You post whatever I want for free, and doesn't bother anything. So that's where I am with my works in progress. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do next. I still have the developmental edits and the regular edits for the memoir, the short one. Or I could start another book to go with my first book. And that was going to be a series in the fact that it was a small fictional town that I created. And, all the same characters. There would be some new ones each time, but, you would have sprinkling of the characters that are in the book throughout, to kind of link them together. But the first book could stand alone. It doesn't need another book. I don't have to write another book. And I wasn't planning on making a series that, is consecutive. Or I think that's the word I want. They would all happen around the same time, like it wouldn't matter which one you read, really. And, these people are all around the same age. So if I was to write it consecutively, then they would be getting older and older, and it just harder for me to figure out and really understand. So I decided they would all be standalone novels if I do decide to write them. So I can write them in any order I want. It doesn't matter. So that's kind of where I'm at. I have plenty to work on. Or maybe I'll come up with something completely different. I haven't really. I still have time till NANO. Still time to think about maybe doing something else. I haven't really made a solid decision on anything, which is one of the problems I have. I can't make decisions, stick to them. So what I said here tonight may not mean anything in the long run. I might completely change things to something completely different. So that's where I am right now with my works in progress. It's hard trying to figure out what to work on, and I'm one of these people that can't work on one thing at one time. Like, I have to work on several things, because after a short period of time I get really bored with it and tired of it, and so I kind of need more than one project in the works, which is kind of like why I like blog posts, because I'm writing different kinds of stories for these prompts and stuff, so it's not boring. And if I do decide to make one a serial one and write it, 40 or 50 parts or whatever, it's something I planned on doing, and I get involved in it and, run it till I get tired of it, and then I have to end it. So, they're all different lengths. Sometimes the words work out perfectly in the different prompts, and sometimes I use the pictures, because I have a lot of photo prompts too. And sometimes I'll do combinations, I'll add a picture and I'll do the words, and do a what's the word? A combination of, sometimes I've had up to 4 different prompts in one story, like several pictures, words, depending on what the different prompts are, and I combine them all together. So I've done quite a few of them that way as well, instead of one like maybe have, I don't know how many I have total, but if I put like 4 of them together, I mean, it's like one blog post and 4 prompts are down, so I don't have something for every day. So, excuse me, a little bit harder. So, okay, enough of that. Those are my works in progress. Those are my possible thoughts for November's NaNoWriMo. So I have plenty of time to make a decision. And if you like my video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so people know when I post a new video. I won't say that I post them every week, because obviously I don't post them every week, and it's gotten harder now that I can't use my phone. For some odd reason, it just doesn't want to connect to YouTube, so there's no sense in me doing anything on my phones. This is next best thing. Is I have to check it out and see how it, because StreamYards was kind of messy. We'll see how the quality of this is. when I replay it back. So, everyone stay healthy. Be wary in this time. We're still getting so many new cases of COVID out there. People are getting sick fast and differently. I mean, there are several different versions out there now. So, try to wear your mask when you're around other people. Stay safe. I don't want any more of my friends getting sick. I've had quite a few get sick. And my own father got sick with COVID. So, try to be safe, everyone. See you later.